All right, this is Porsche 356A chassis 55001. And yes, 001 means it is the first serial number, the first chassis Porsche 356A. I found this car July of 2024 in a basement just outside Atlanta, Georgia. It was actually a throw-in car and a package deal. There were two 56 model 356As, and I went down to look at the other car and ended up buying both. And it took me a day or two before I started putting the pieces together about the chassis number. So this car, it's got a really interesting history. But first, I will show you. I'm not making this up. That is chassis 55001. May not be able to pick it up with this camera, but on the VIN tag down there, actually. Oh yeah, look at that, 55001, built in 1955. It was completed in November of 55. Most of the parts are dated October 10 of 55. Well, this is an easy one. Even the fuel sending unit is stamped 1055. As you can see, the car, it's got its bumps and bruises, but it is complete. It's a very special car. Matter of fact, this car was actually built on a prototype chassis. Porsche had a list of prototype chassis numbers, and they all started with 12XXX. This particular car was prototype chassis 12260. Took me months to figure this out. Steve Heinrich has a great book done in conjunction with the Porsche Museum that's got a list of all the chassis numbers. And when you look up 12260, it says it became 55001, which answered a big question, a big mystery for us. So on all 356s, all the closing panels, the lids, as people call it, the hood, the doors, the deck lid, even the hinge plate covers, which is this here, are all stamped 260 or 60, which proves it's the 12260 prototype chassis. Pretty cool. Matter of fact, behind this hinge plate cover, if you look at my Instagram, I'll post a picture of it. There's even a grease pencil writing where it says 55001, which is pretty cool because it is stamped 60, which wouldn't line up. So somebody at the factory wanted to make sure everybody knew that it was the right panel for the right car. We got this car. It was very complete, with the exception of it did not have those seats. Those are T1 fatback seats, but they're not the original to the car. But this carskin brown interior, which I wiped down a couple areas, but I have not touched any of this back seat. This seat was folded down when we got it. And by the way, this car was parked in 1974, so 50 years ago, 51 years ago. It was parked like this. So when we lifted this seat up, just beautiful. Back seat material still intact. A lot of original carpet, obviously not in the best of shape. Door panels are beautiful, would clean up very well. Garnish rails, you can even see where the brown paint's rubbed through, and you can see that original green under it. Now the outside of the car is green, but it's not the correct green for this car. This car was repainted to this more common 56 shade of green, but it originally, according to the Cardex, was a very special green, Glasso 842 green, which that same book from Steve Heinrich lets us know that Glasso 842 is actually Russian green, and there were only two cars painted Russian green. This car, which was painted in probably 10 of 55, and then there was an 8 of 55 prototype cabriolet painted this same shade of green, and that book shows that it was owned by Frau Porsche, Ferry Porsche's wife. So a lot of people talk about the Porsche family green. Well, this is the earliest example of a green being associated with the Porsche family, so I don't know, you do the math. I'd say that's it. So I'm showing this dash here. The dash has not been repainted. This is the original green. And we did a little hand polishing. That's what some of that residue is. But obviously these dashes are welded in, unlike a Pre-A that's bolted in, can't be removed from the car. So that is the original Porsche family green. I'm sure a bunch of people would love to scan that and get a code and maybe do a paint to sample 911 ST or something cool like that. But yeah, really, really neat. Beautiful color, non-metallic, very cool. I mean, just such awesome patina on some of this stuff. Look, it's is it a project? Absolutely. There's no shortage of 356 projects on the internet, but there can only be one number one, and this is it. The glass is all original, including both front and rear windshield, which is awesome. And going back to it being a project, yes, it's complete, which is a big deal. You don't want to buy an incomplete project. So this has got all the components there. And the Cardex has a lot of numbers on it. And on that, aside from chassis number, paint number, engine number, which we'll get to that, there are numbers for the door lock cylinders. And these are both original. Cardex matching. We had keys made off that number. Worked beautifully. The ignition switch, also the original. We pulled that out. It matches the number on the Cardex. Ordered a key for it. Works beautiful. Let's go back to the engine here. So there is no engine. We bought the car. Came with a couple of spare engines, which are for sale separately, but they're not original to the car. But the Cardex shows this was an early supercar, 1600 supercar, and the first production car to have 15-inch wheels, which is neat. It's a long story. I'll spare you the juicy details, but there was a gentleman overseas who had believed he had 55001. He was told that. He was kind of had the wool pulled over his eyes a little bit. However, he did have the original engine. And we've become friends. He's been a great help to me in figuring out the prototype chassis, the color information, and he did have the original super engine and was able to purchase it from him and a few other bits and pieces. So it is a numbers matching project car. The only number that doesn't match the Cardex is the transmission number. This one's, I think, a couple thousand numbers off, if memory serves me right, but it is a correct 519 transmission. But yeah, aside from that, it's all there. Yeah, what else can I tell you? Just such a neat car. Because it was stored inside, it was actually an air-conditioned basement. Very little rust. This right here, this is the highest up spot of rust on the entire car. From here up, the car is completely rust-free because it was inside, and it was air-conditioned. And as you can see, we haven't cleaned it. It's killing me. I'd like to, and maybe I should. At least the glass, but I don't know if we can see here. If I get just the right light on it, yeah, it might be hard to. It's such a faint logo. Oh, there we go. Yep, original glass, which is so cool. Window winders, they're all dated 10 of 55. 260 stamped on both doors, original doors. The hood is unstamped. It's blank, it's clean, and it's not been touched or ground down or anything. So, because it was a prototype chassis, did it have an unstamped hood? Maybe. Was the hood replaced? Maybe. Not exactly sure. But aside from the transmission and that hood stamp, there's really not much out of place. The wheels are not all 10 of 55. We have one 10 of 55 wheel. The others are from 56. So that'll be a fun adventure for the next person if they want to go that deep with it, which I believe this car deserves. Such a neat car, special car. Again, lots of projects out there. Not many of them are worth restoring with how expensive it is to restore a car these days, but this car restored, I mean, it's just going to be, you know, kind of one of those name your price cars. You know, any collector who wants something that nobody else has, this is it. This is your opportunity. When it's gone, it's gone. Yeah, give us a call, shoot us a message. We'll have the listing up soon. And yeah, it was an adventure to find and figure out the history. But it would be well suited in somebody else's hands for the restoration. Go ahead and ask us any questions if you've got them. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.